Hi, my name is Eva Steiner, and this is my project Psychotherapists Around the Globe. I am interviewing the psychotherapists around the world and asking them the same 8 questions. I am wondering how mental health profession is in their country. Today we are going to. Thank you for taking this time. Before we start with the interview, can you introduce yourself?
Thank you for having me as a guest in your project, Eva. My name is Camelia Ioanos. I'm Romanian. I have a long history, professionally speaking, as in I used to work as a psychologist in Romania, and then I changed completely the field. I went for 7 years and a half as a flight attendant in Qatar Airways, and then I came back to Romania in 2013, and I restarted being a psychologist, and I've done my course, and I became a psychotherapist as well.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell me a little bit about your culture? What is some holiday or tradition that your country celebrates? And if your culture would be an emotion, what emotion would it be?
Well, in Romania, we have a lot of celebrations. We're celebrating Christmas. The vast majority of the people in here in Romania are Orthodox as a religion. So therefore, they celebrate. We celebrate Easter. We celebrate Christmas. We have a lot of national holidays, as in the National Day. That's 1st of December. But mainly, the main celebrations here are more on the religious side, as in Christmas and Easter. And before answering your question regarding the emotions, let me tell you a story first. So they say that there used to be a small village where there used to be a shepherd in that village. And in that village once came a traveler, and the traveler asked, hi, Mr. Shepherd, how are the people in the next village? Can you tell me more about them? So the shepherd asked, well, how were they in the previous village that you visited? Oh, they were horrible people. I didn't like them at all. They were not helpful, terrible people. I will never go back there again. And then another day, another traveler came, and the shepherd received the same question. How are the people in the next village? So the shepherd asked again, how were they in the previous village that you visited? Oh, wonderful people, very nice people. I love them, helpful and kind and friendly. That goes with your question, basically, because when we're talking about emotions, like what emotion would Romania be, or Romanians, it depends on my days as well, because sometimes I can say about Romanians that they are extraordinary people, and they are. They are very creative, they are very helpful, very friendly, they are very hospitable as well. But sometimes, regarding Romania itself and the Romanian state, not very happy about that, because the state is not very reliable, unfortunately. So the state, regarding the state, let me think about an emotion. Romania can be uncertain, so therefore that gives fear. As I traveled recently to Norway, for example, and I've seen how relaxed they are and how reliable the state was. So their health system is perfect. Their traveling system, I mean, all the transportation system is perfect. The schools are amazing. You can rely on that state. Compared to Romania, where everything is quite uncertain, quite unsafe sometimes. Well, that's fear about the state, and friendliness, positivity, and happiness regarding the people. Helpfulness, more likely. Happiness. We're still working on that. Yeah. Helpfulness. Yeah. We're working on our happiness level.
Through therapy, huh?
Through therapy as well. Yeah.
How do you become a psychotherapist in your country, and what is your therapeutic approach?
So first of all, you have to graduate psychology. We're not medical practitioners, we're psychologists. So I graduated psychology. By then, it used to be a 5 years university. And after that, I worked in a hospital, so I didn't study much. And I studied somatotherapy. I'm not very sure how to translate that into English.
Psychosomatic therapy, probably.
Psychosomatic therapy, yeah. If that's a correct word, then that's it. And then I traveled for 7 years, and then I came back and I studied. In order to become a psychotherapist, I studied clinical hypnosis and then Ericksonian hypnosis. And then after these years of training, in our school, the supervision part was compulsory. The course itself was 4 years, and then 2 more years of supervision.
And in general, how can you become a psychotherapist? Do you need a psychological education, or can you become directly a psychologist?
As far as I know, you need a psychological education, and in order to become a psychotherapist, you need an extra training. So the university itself, the university courses themselves are not enough to become a psychotherapist. So you need extra training. That's the main rule in Romania. And it depends on the school as well, because, for example, I suppose you already know that psychoanalysis, for example, it's a very long training time, and then it's a very long supervision time compared to my school, where it's shorter, or to cognitive behavioral schools where it's
depend on the approach, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
And psychologists can work with people in psychotherapy way, or do they need clinical psychology as well, or how does it look?
All psychologists can work with people, but not as clinical psychologists or as psychotherapists. They can work in state institutions, in hospitals, in all these fields, but they need extra training and extra qualifications in order to get the right to work as a clinical psychologist, for example. So we don't have the right for a stamp unless we go through the training, and we have to be part of I'm going to try a translation here. So it's the College of Romanian Psychologists. So there's an institution that we are all accredited for.
Yeah. Okay. How society looks upon psychotherapy or any psychological help?
In the recent years, society became more and more open to psychotherapy, to psychologists, to seeking psychological and professional help, seeking psychotherapy. 20 years ago, 20 years ago, I was way younger. And I used to work with very old people. In the hospital I used to work with, people were like starting from 65 onwards until they were, I even had patients of 95, 96 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It was quite tough back then. And they were, I was 20 something, 20-ish, and they were like, who's the kid and what does she want? She's a psychologist. Oh, so you can read minds. That was basically the perception on psychologists. Nobody knew, because we were a communist country, and during the communism there was the psychology university was forbidden. It was shut down, and that's it. No more psychologists anywhere in Romania. And nobody knew what exactly does it mean. Psychology, psychologists, psychotherapy, that was a chimera back then. The College of Psychologists was non-existent back then when I started working as a psychologist. And people were taking this job more into the wizardry stuff like you're reading minds. You know, I have a magic wand and I'm doing some magic and I'm curing them of whatever anxiety they had. That was basically it 20 something years ago. Today, though, the younger generation is very open to psychotherapy. They are very aware of their issues and they are actually asking for help in order to solve these issues. And people are more and more eager to find out more about themselves, to cure themselves, to enter a psychotherapy process, which can actually, you know how it is, it can take a bit of time.
What do you think contribute to this change?
More and more education, because to be really fair with you, I never had a patient with a low degree, like a lower education level. So I'm always, so it happens, I'm willing to receive anyone, obviously, but people who are actually searching for these services are highly educated people. And somehow they are seeing their parents and they are seeing their parents' generation struggling with issues and refusing, you know, like 55, 65 generation, they are not really coming to therapy. And if they're coming pushed by their children, somehow forced to come into therapy. And it doesn't really work with them, with elderly people. So the young generation is seeing the struggles that the old generation is having, and they're trying to fix their generation in order to provide a better, you know, better outcome for the next ones.
And did I understood you correctly? Like 20 years ago, there were no university for psychology?
They were just starting. So the fall of communism was 33, 34 years ago. And they started, you know, this psychology university appeared like out of the bloom. And then in the 1998, it was murder to enter the psychology university, you know. So, and then it became a trend. Although the parents were very reluctant to, oh, you want to study psychology? What the hell is that? What do you want to do with psychology? Because look, there are no jobs in psychology, you know, so they couldn't actually see further, like, what is that? I didn't hear of that. No, not good. You have to turn into a lawyer or to an accountant or, you know.
And you saw further. What led you to this field then?
I was very, very curious. You know, the thing that I love most in this world is talking to people and more likely listening to people. So I'm like, I love that. I have the chance to listen to life stories and I absolutely adore that. And I'm very interested in how may I help. So if there's any way, you know how it is. The first principle in psychotherapy is primum non nocere. So if you can't help, shut your mouth. That's one thing I'm actually following. If I don't have, and you know, it actually happens, I don't have any clue what to say, I shut up. And guess what? The client comes up with his or her own ideas, and they are amazing.
Yeah. Okay, the fourth question. What is your society teaching about child-parent relationship? And when does this value of society also affect how the therapists design the interventions that concern the relationship?
Nowadays, when people are actually going to therapy and they are paying attention to previous generations' issues, they're also becoming parents, coming to therapy and solving their relationships with their children. And most of my clients are actually bringing into therapy mother and child or father and child relationship. or relationship issues. Nowadays, we have a lot of trainings regarding parents. We have a lot of trainings regarding children, adolescents, personal development, to cough, basically, nowadays. But, 30, 40 years ago, the main parenting method, so to speak, was, I don't know, slap your kid and he will do whatever you're saying. Now the new parents, or I'm 46, so even my generation, were struggling to get over that mentality, and we're working hard with ourselves in order to adopt this respectful parenting. So the child matters, and the child has needs, and we're actually listening to our children. So we're all integrating into therapy anything that might help our injured, traumatized inner child, and this is actually helping in the relationship that a parent is having with a child.
And if, for example, you would get a client that would say, okay, I don't want to contact with my parents anymore, how would you proceed?
Well, first of all, I'm not judging. Second of all, I'm asking a lot of questions, because I need to understand what's going on in there. And it's not only that I need to understand, but that client needs to understand what's going on. What's the reason they're refusing contact with their parents? Again, I wouldn't say much, as I wouldn't, you know very well what psychotherapy is about. So we're not there to judge. We're there to provide a healthy support, and we're there to just provide guidance, not under the way of advices and you should do that and that and that. No, my recipe for cake, it will never work for you, because you'll use different ingredients and you'll use your own creativity. So everybody's cooking their own recipe.
Yeah. Okay, what are the learned beliefs regarding client-therapist relationship, and can the relationship continue outside the therapy once the therapy process is over?
Well, the beliefs are, for example, I'll give you a very short example. So obviously keeping confidentiality at place. In Romania, people were, in communist times, people were really used to go to the doctor and give that doctor something. Besides the bribery, which was a huge amount of money, yes, I'm very serious, they were giving small gifts like a perfume, I don't know, cigarettes, even coffee, candies, whatever. And then when psychologists and psychotherapists appeared on the market, they were seen like medical practitioners, like doctors. And although clients are coming and paying for this service, it's a paid service, the psychotherapy process, they are coming with, I still have these situations. They are bringing eggs from the countryside, or they are bringing strawberries or apples. And it's very difficult for me. I am doing that, but I'm actually strongly trying to educate them to give up these habits. And I'm very grateful for their gesture, because I know where is it coming from, but I still think it's so inappropriate. You are paying for a service, and you don't need to bribe me further. That's okay. You're paying for it. So that's a learned belief, so to speak. They're bringing stuff, and then in the office, in a psychotherapist's office, they have the right to be angry with me. They have the right to express themselves, and they have the liberty to say whatever comes to their minds. And that's okay. I'm even encouraging them. I suppose that we are all encouraging them to speak up their minds. However, about continuing the relationship after the therapy ended, I don't know about other schools, but I'm not really into that. So I've heard that there are some therapists in Romania that they are continuing the relationship, like going out for coffee, going out for, I don't know, they are starting a friendship after the therapy is over. I'm not big on that. I wouldn't encourage it, and I don't think it's very healthy. We keep in touch, but we keep in touch in a very professional way, if you want.
Yeah.
That's my take on that. I don't know about the others.
Yeah. Is supervision a must in your country?
As far as I know, yes. To be fair with you, I haven't read the law regarding the supervision stuff, but in my school, in clinical hypnosis, that was mandatory. So without, and as a matter of fact, if I know correctly, the psychologist college in Romania is not providing you the next level of psychotherapy. So when we are entering this profession, we are psychotherapists under supervision, and then we are becoming autonomous. The next level is specialist in psychotherapy, and then the next level is principal. And that's not only for psychotherapy, that's also for clinical psychology, for all this organizational psychology. So we all have levels, and without supervision, we're not getting to the next level. You know, so yes, it is compulsory. And we have laws covering, I'm sorry, we have laws covering that. I'm not big on reading laws, but
well, this would be my next question. Is there any institution that take care of a client, for example, in case of a therapeutic abuse?
Yes, absolutely. So we have the college that I was telling you about, and the clients are actually addressing complaints to the college, and it goes to the ethical commission. So they're solving the ethical issues in the ethical commission, and people can actually be, psychologists can actually be left without their
license.
License, yes. Thank you.
Okay, so what are the most common complaints that the clients come to therapy for?
They mainly come with anxiety issues, with certain phobias. They come with depression. I have some experience with oncology patients as well. So, because unfortunately, in the state system, the oncological patients do not receive psychological help, which, besides the chemotherapy, and especially since they are going through a horrible process, and that it's painful, it's scary, it's life-threatening, you know, everything that's going on, they should and need to receive a psychological support. And unfortunately, in the state hospitals, they don't, because there's one psychologist in a 7 floors hospital, and that psychologist is going mad. It's overwhelmed and burned out, and impossible to check everyone out. Well, that's the system. So okay, so they're coming with anxiety, depressions, the oncological patients with, you know, that issue. They're coming with relationship issues, with relational struggles, with communication struggles, with personal development needs. You know, so even if it's a teenager, or if it's a 45 years old person, we kind of have the same issues, all of us, you know, from teenage to old age, until we actually solve them. So that's mainly at a psychologist. because it happened. I had cases with people with schizophrenia or with borderline disorders or with bipolar disorders, and I am strongly encouraging them to go to a psychiatrist, to a doctor, in order to receive the proper treatment. However, whenever they are not taking that treatment, the psychotherapy itself is not going, because it's not functioning, because they enter this, some of them enter this paranoid trip. Some of them are considering they don't really need my help. Some of them are expecting for the magic wand. So the collaboration with the psychiatrist is usually crucial.
Yeah. Okay. If you would share one tool, belief, or approach that is a must-have for you as a therapist, what would that be?
Remember what I did when we first started our interview? I told you a story.
I love your story, so go ahead.
So yeah, basically that's my tool. Because I was trained in clinical hypnosis and in Ericksonian hypnosis. Our teacher, whenever was trying to make a point, and some of us were not getting his point, he was stopping everything and telling us a story. And then with the story, we were all like, okay. Now I get it. And he used to start his story saying like that: I'm not going to tell you the story, you, Eva, the adult. I'm going to tell the story to the child within you. And that was usually working very well. So one of the tools I have is telling stories. I prefer telling stories during a hypnosis session because, the people are way more relaxed and way more approachable to suggestions and to change suggestions and to positive behavioral changes during a trance state, instead of quit smoking. Why don't you quit smoking? It doesn't work like that. And I'm using a lot of humor when appropriate, obviously.
You are using, a lot of what?
Humor.
Mm-hmm.
Humor, yes. I'm using jokes. Well, yeah, jokes and stories.
Mm-hmm.
People come to me, especially since I'm trained in clinical hypnosis. They come to me and they first session, they sit and they say, okay, so do it. And I'm like, okay, do you want me to hypnotize you? That's the do it invitation. Yes, hypnotize me right now. And by the way, I can't be hypnotized. Because there are strong beliefs about hypnosis and strong misconceptions about hypnosis. Like, I'm doing that and you're falling off in a deep state of trance. Or I myself, as a hypnotherapist, I am going to control your mind with my mind. Not true. So first of all, when a client comes into therapy, we need to create the relationship. And hypnosis is only one tool in my box. Stories and humor and relaxation and all that are many, many more tools, like every single therapist has, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you for doing this interview with me. I love this storytelling tool. Storytelling, metaphors, such an important tool in psychotherapy. So thank you again for doing this interview with me.
Thank you as well for inviting me. I think your project is brilliant. I love it. So your idea is amazing, and I'm going to keep on watching your interviews. So
thank you.
Congratulations for your work. Thank you as well.
Are you a psychotherapist and want to be a part of my project? Feel free to contact me through my webpage. Thank you for listening.